Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine, Reel, and Print. My name is Ryan. I'm here in cloudy Yorba Linda, California, my hometown, with my one and only, best sister, Julia. Thank you.
Folks, yeah.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be in your company.
Oh, wow. That means a lot.
Right.
Yes. You are not, it's not fake in any way.
See that smile?
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about psychological thrillers, kind of through, what was the lens that we had kind of talked about? What's kind of because you study psychology and tell the audience.
Right. So I'm in college to become a forensic psychologist. I guess I'm not in college. I finished college. I'm in grad school to become a forensic psychologist. Forensic psychology is, in a broad sense, really the overlap between law and psychology, but the more interesting stuff is really the psychology of crime. Ordinarily, people think of like Criminal Minds, CSI, things like that. That's not really totally what it is, but I think that could be a piece of it. Criminal profiling is certainly what forensic psychology is most famous for, but it's not really our most practical. It's not what we learn the most often, or what I'll probably be doing with my career. But
it's the coolest on camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what most movies that have to do with forensic psychology are about. So.
Yeah. And so all of these movies deal with forensic psychology?
I would say to some, there can be an argument for all four if there's really any aspect of crime in the movie as well as psychology.
Yeah.
That's basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I came to you. We've talked for the last few months and things about like, what are some ideas that we had? Because I know also French stuff is you've seen a lot of French movies, and you like that, and you know the language pretty well.
This is true.
And I'm not going to put you on the spot. So
thank you.
You're saved.
You have to pay extra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
to
that's
hear me
for
in a different language.
We don't have a Patreon yet,
but maybe
we
can do this episode in French.
Yes, exactly. So we ended up landing on one of the options was psychological thrillers, or the movies you had presented are some of the ones we're going to talk about today. I guess what for you is interesting about this crop of movies? And I know I threw one in as well, but
that was great.
But what was kind of the impetus of choosing these three?
Yeah, I mean, well, I actually originally went to school for film. That's what I applied to college for everywhere.
It was in our blood.
Exactly. I thought that's the only thing we could do. So
True.
Started with that, and then I realized, I did film all throughout high school, and obviously I grew up watching them so much with you guys. My first day of classes, I was like, this really isn't my thing, and I kind of realized the films I loved the most were ones that had to deal with psychological thrillers and forensic psychology. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just try that? Originally was doing criminal law courses and things like that because I thought that was cool, but I don't want to be a lawyer, and I only liked the forensic psychology stuff. So my path became clear from there, but I have always really loved these movies. It's honestly the main reason that I'm in this field in the first place, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, whenever anyone wants me to explain what forensic psychology is, Silence of the Lambs is like the first movie I ever bring up, because most people have seen that and they know what it's about, at least. But yeah, I feel like all of these, I love a movie that takes me on a good journey, and especially one that is thought-provoking in the way that these are. I'm also, a nerd with this kind of stuff, so I really like to see the actual like application of, the studies that I've done. And I mean, basically all these characters have a diagnosis they could get. So it's really fun for me to watch.
Yeah, because and to say what the four movies are, we have Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
We have Cure, which is a Japanese film. That's the one I threw in.
Yeah.
And then we have Gone Girl and Shutter Island.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Shutter Island, I had kind of thought, because we didn't really talk about like why you decided. I thought maybe it was more going to be kind of the application, because I know you've thought about this in your field as well, of like not rehabilitation, but what's the word? Trying to figure out what you can do to help these people. Basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was watching Shutter Island, being like, this is the worst application of trying
Absolutely,
like, can
so
you
bad, yeah.
imagine them doing
ridiculous,
that
right?
to try to cure someone?
Yeah.
It's
So cost ineffective as
it's
well.
unbelievable in every
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
But yeah, that was my original. I was like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
thought we were going in that direction. But
Yeah.
I see what you mean. It's very much collecting evidence.
Exactly. And we've got, I feel like all 4 of these movies, maybe not so much cure, but they all have, they all deal with a different cluster of diagnoses and symptoms. And so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think the one thing that just before we jump into these, I think the one thing that's interesting about Cure is it almost feels like the take a combination a little more so than the other films of like the supernatural
Yeah,
into
you're right.
the natural.
Sure,
because
yeah.
it's about hypnosis and things like
Yeah.
that. So also it's kind of like going into, because that film would end up being the jumping off point for Japanese horror.
Yeah,
when you
that's
think
awesome.
of Ring,
Yeah, it
The
makes a lot of
Grudge,
sense, yeah.
it all kind of comes from that. So that took the genre and then twisted it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say let's jump into it. Is there
Awesome.
one that you'd like to talk about first, or I can lead us?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, I think we should chronologically, and then we'll finish off with Cure.
Awesome.
But let's start with Silence of the Lambs,
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
great.
that is the standard setting
Absolutely.
film. We've done we have talked about it on the podcast before.
Okay, cool.
It is that good.
Yeah, right.
We watched it for a Letterboxd Top 250 episode. I'm pretty sure,
Nice.
where we kind of shuffle 4 of them, and so luckily we were able to land on that.
Yeah.
I had when I had rewatched it, there was so much I hadn't remembered about it.
Sure.
Especially like even why the title was what it
Yeah,
was. I was
yeah,
like,
right?
But watching a lot of movies recently, specifically like Long Legs, you see that's like very like Silence of the Lambs coded.
Oh, there's so much that is totally can be traced back to that movie.
Exactly. I feel like it just dropped a bomb on the genre as a whole.
Absolutely.
And I'd be curious, how much do you know about like the genre's history at all?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
What I know more about is the creation of criminal profiling that
Ooh.
has inspired that genre.
Oh,
so,
okay. So that's a good way direction to go. What is like this? How do you connect that with Silence of the Lambs?
Sure. So criminal profiling,
This is awesome.
you know, if you think about Mindhunter, have you ever seen that?
I have not, but I
Okay,
know what it
all
is.
right.
Is it that's
Recommend
David
it.
Fincher
Yes,
show?
David Fincher show.
Yeah.
That is a semi-true story about the creation of the FBI Behavioral Science Unit, and that was the first time they ever actually considered that serial killers and people that were just considered monsters up until that time. This is in the 70s, so not that long ago at all. They first came up with the term serial killer then. That wasn't even a thing. And also they
What were they
realized-
called before that? Do you know? Just killers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just maybe.
Because I could have sworn I would see serial killer in like the Jack the Ripper things, but
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah, hadn't been called that
Wow,
yet,
interesting.
actually. It was that guy. Ooh, I don't want to mess it. I believe his name was John Douglas.
So generic.
I guess I should make sure I didn't get that wrong.
Yeah.
But
You are being graded.
exactly, and it would be so embarrassing if I got this wrong. John Douglas.
I will say you might be the smartest person that's come on the podcast yet. So
Oh
congrats.
wow, that's really nice. His name is John Douglas. So I got
Cool.
that right.
Nice.
But
1 for 1.
he was the first guy to think, what if we he basically invented criminal psychology.
Okay.
What if these criminals actually have a mental illness and that's why they're doing these things and they're not just monsters that we, should put away in jail forever or death penalty, things like that. What if they can be rehabilitated? 1, and 2, what if there are warning signs that we can identify in other people? Another big purpose of that was obviously back in the 70s was the height of serial killers. We think of basically any famous serial killer, and we think of Ted Bundy. Manson was a little before that, and
Zodiac.
technically he wasn't, but yes, absolutely Zodiac. I almost added that to the list for this one.
Oh
but-
yeah. And the ones that you didn't add that you had mentioned was Zodiac
Yes.
and Misery.
Yeah, Misery.
I haven't seen Misery,
Oh,
and so
come on. Such a good
I'm
one.
looking forward to watching
Yeah,
that.
you'll have to.
Yeah.
But back in that time, there was also other murderers still on the loose, like BTK was a big one at the time. Mindhunter kind of talks about. They were trying to track him down, and by understanding more about the psychology of criminals currently incarcerated, Ed Kemper was one of them that they interviewed, they could get into the mind of other mass murderers and see if they could potentially profile them. And that's what this guy, John Douglas, did. And he's still alive. I'm not sure if he's still working, but he could look at a crime scene. He's actually insane, like absolutely incredible. He could look at a crime scene and tell you, like, down to whether the perpetrator probably had a lisp when he was a kid, or
this feels like so many TV shows
exactly
pull from that kind of character. Monk is one that comes to my head. Like all of these, like they're kind of weird, eccentric kind of guys. House is like that for doctors,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Criminal Minds. Everyone thinks of Spencer Reid, Matthew Gray Gubler's character.
Yeah.
He's like someone like that.
Okay.
So Silence of the Lambs has a bit of that. Obviously, they're talking to Hannibal Lecter to try to get more information about Buffalo Bill.
Yes.
Studying someone currently incarcerated to get more information about how to catch somebody else. This movie, I think, is mostly about antisocial personality disorder, which the term antisocial in this case doesn't mean like a loner or an isolated person. It means someone who doesn't respect ordinary social norms.
That feels right for that character,
exactly.
For sure.
So you see sort of a lack of empathy and an early pattern of criminal behavior in these people. Ordinarily, they have something called conduct disorder as a kid, because antisocial personality disorder can't be diagnosed until they're an adult. But I think both Buffalo Bill and Hannibal Lecter would fit the profile for something like that. I think that's why he gives such incredible insight into Buffalo Bill and why he's so valuable to Clarice in that movie. But that movie is totally like basically a retelling, I feel, of the origination of, is that a word? The origin.
Yeah.
Origination, I'm not sure. The origin of criminal profiling.
Words don't matter anymore.
Exactly.
I hate to break it to folks.
You're so right.
When I'm on the internet, almost everything is misspelled.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it
you
is.
say it with confidence.
It does. Yeah, I feel like we've now kind of reached a point where like language really, like, can you imagine going on the internet and like correcting someone like the your thing?
Yeah,
like that used to be like, it's used to be something like people like me would do, you know, and now we're at a point where
I have the urge. That doesn't mean I don't have the urge.
Yeah.
But
So don't be afraid to throw out a crazy word, because I know. I imagine listeners have banged their head on a wall with Ryan saying very interesting things.
Yeah.
I know I come up with stuff that does not make any sense.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. So Silence of the Lambs was it big for you as well? Like really wanting to do this?
Man, absolutely. If I had to track it, I mean, I would say Zodiac was probably the first movie I saw that I was like, what? Like, I just thought that movie was so fascinating. And then Silence of the Lambs, I think, was the next thriller I watched that I was like, God, if I could be her, I would be so happy. And, you know, I thought about FBI, you know, growing up too, but
you know, you would work on some awful shit.
Absolutely.
And not awful.
And you got to go through camp, and like, I'm not that athletically motivated. So I'd rather be a doctor and just work behind my desk. So
yeah, exactly. You're the person that she goes to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll write up the report.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know, someone's got to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Respect.
But yeah, and her story too, obviously in that movie, I think is special. She has her own trauma that's basically exploited by Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting personality disorder symptom as well.
This definitely plays up the serial killer being very, I don't want to say attractive, but to have
charismatic.
that charismatic.
Absolutely.
That magnetism that draws you in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So very antisocial personality disorder. Again, also disclaimer, any of these disorders doesn't necessarily make that person a bad person.
Yes.
Obviously. It's a combination. Obviously, are you familiar with like nature and nurture and that kind of like concept?
I definitely the concept on like a broad basic level. Sure. Yeah.
It's definitely the case in psychology and with especially forensic psychology.
Mm-hmm.
There could be, 100 people with antisocial personality disorder, and it takes a unique experience, a unique genetic component. You never know what's going to make that person dangerous. But I'm certainly a believer in that anyone can be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
So
The other one that I think of is bipolar disorder
Yeah,
is one that is very misunderstood, and people just think it is
Schizophrenia as well. Yeah,
totally,
absolutely.
And then you hear people can live with it, and people can live quote unquote normal lives
High
with these
functioning,
things, high
sure.
functioning. Yeah,
Right.
that's interesting. So with Silence of the Lambs, have you seen any? I know there's like sequels and all sorts of things. Have you
I
watched
have
any of
not
those?
seen anything. I haven't watched Hannibal.
Yeah.
I've heard that is good.
I heard the show is good. Mads
Sure.
Mikkelsen,
Yeah,
which
yes, that's
which
what I was-
respect to the man.
Absolutely. And what's that other guy's name?
Ooh, I don't know.
He was in
that
Ella
plays
Enchanted.
alongside.
That's what I know.
Oh,
I had such a
as
crush
like
on him in that movie.
as the prince.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was really cute in that movie. But anyways, I have not seen any of those, but I really, I'd be interested because even thinking about Hannibal when I was driving here, just the character, I was like, what am I going to talk about with him? And I was like, I wish I knew more about his upbringing and all the different. I could have certainly could have gone much into more depth. But
yeah, it feels like, and I'd be curious your take on this too. It in some ways it feels. It's like having Jeffrey Dahmer TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's
very
this
complicated, man.
Yeah, it is. There's something very addictive
Yeah.
about really analyzing these characters in a way. And I guess it's just like why we listen to a lot of true crime and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
There's something about kind of going there.
It's escapism.
Yeah,
in a very like primal sense. It's almost comforting to us to know that there's things that happen that are so out of
You think
the
that's it?
ordinary.
Yeah.
I think so. That's kind of my theory, but
Yeah.
it's like it's just not. It's a break from our everyday life, almost the way that reality TV is, like really trashy.
Yeah.
Love Island and things like that. I love those shows too. But, they serve a purpose to make us forget about what's going on in our lives, even if they're really dark and terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. The tidal wave of true crime that has happened over the past, I guess, like decade or so.
Absolutely.
With like podcasts also becoming.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Such a big thing. And I have definitely listened to those things.
Yeah, I feel like in
and
our family, like everyone is listening to those things a lot. I'm hearing about the next gory thing.
Exactly. And it is, I get asked this question, honestly, somewhat frequently by people, my opinion on like true crime media. But I'm very particular about what I engage in.
Yeah.
Like if it's a little too, if the focus is on the criminal rather than the victim, most of the time I don't engage.
Yeah.
Even when it's something as simple as titling the episode after the victim rather than the killer goes a long way it's just a very thin line between exploitative and informational. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. That's also what I was kind of getting at with the Hannibal TV shows and things like that. It does feel a little exploitive to like show, and he's obviously a fictional character,
right.
Yeah.
But he is inspired. I mean, we got Ed Gein. There's something coming out about him. Ryan Murphy, once again. I don't know what his vibe is, but
he just wants to hit the money button.
Yeah, he's certainly doing a good job of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But there's certainly an aspect of him that's taken from real people. But he is fake.
I think Silence of the Lambs has an interesting component that I feel like I've seen in some of the other movies, but is like the injection of sexuality into it, and not only into like obviously there's the male female dynamic that is big in this.
Yep.
But also just the sexual part of it, psychosexual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of reminding myself about this movie yesterday and reading articles about it and things, and kind of forgot about Buffalo Bill's whole subplot applying for gender reassignment surgery over and over again. Johns Hopkins couldn't pass the psychological evaluations.
Yeah.
And kind of drove him into committing these crimes. It was not long ago at all. In fact, there's still, DSM is it's called the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Psychology and Psychiatry. And that's basically where we get all of our diagnoses and diagnostic criteria. And it gets changed updated, I should say, every few years. And it wasn't that long ago that, homosexuality was in there. And there's still certainly, some very controversial inclusions in there. So.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I mean, it's also, we're living literally in a day and age where transgender people are being exploited and blamed as being as just being violent inherently,
exactly.
which is insane.
Unbelievable.
And obviously this movie plays into that.
Yeah, absolutely. For lack of a,
Exactly. It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, That's a lot of movies use like the trans character,
Exactly.
or people that are just cross-dressing.
Yeah,
and
they're deviant.
Exactly. It's a quick also way to say like, oh, they're weird, like weird
Right,
person,
right.
you know.
Yeah.
Kind of break. I'm trying to think of other movies that do that, but I know I've run into a number of them that it's like, oh, that's just a quick way to say.
Yeah, by the way, they're creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. Is there anything more you wanted to kind of say about Silence of the Lambs?
I was really on my way here. I was thinking about why Clarice got into the field that she got into, because I've noticed at least people in my cohort, which are people in my classes at school, we all will graduate at the same time in 2 years, and they all have their own reasons for entering forensic psychology. It's usually something personal. They have someone they knew that was incarcerated that was treated poorly, or they have a history in their family of addiction or of criminal behavior. There's usually something personal, and obviously Clarice's dad was a police officer. Clarice went through a lot of trauma, and usually people who went through trauma themselves, I find, go out of their way to get in these jobs to better protect victims, support victims, and there's also an aspect of just wanting to know more about the criminal mind.
Yeah.
That I think really resonates with people who have had, challenging childhoods and traumatic events. But yeah, my last point was really that I always find it so interesting to hear the individual reasons that people have gotten into this, because there's always there's always a personal aspect.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the same with so many different careers. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think about therapists. So many of them
Sure.
go through something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that also reminds me, like, Clarice is also just like a totally good character.
Yeah.
Like
No
morally
flaws.
good. There's no like part of her that is doing it like
Anti-hero,
yeah,
it's
like
clever.
the other that part of her is kind of Hannibal.
Yeah,
In a way,
absolutely.
like that fills that role in the movie of like this
Exactly.
kind of amorphous, you don't really exactly know,
Yeah.
like agnostic almost.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, chaos neutral.
Yeah, because Buffalo Bill is the villain in the movie, and Hannibal Lecter's almost kind of the helper. you know?
Exactly. Like he's yeah. You asked for a while, like, is he really? How bad is he really?
Yeah.
Like they're treating
As
him
it
really
goes
bad,
on,
and
yeah.
then obviously at the end they really show like what he's capable of.
Right.
Um.
But yeah,
Yeah.
such a good movie. Never gets old.
Yeah. No. It hits every time. It
does.
deserves its place.
Yeah, it
As
does.
a top tier.
Amen.
Right on. Well, let's move on to Shutter Island.
Such a good movie.
Yes, that is good. So like I knew when I rewatched
Yeah.
this that a big thing that I always think about Shutter Island is the twist.
Right.
Is huge, and
Iconic.
I didn't read Silence of the Lambs synopsis only because we've talked about it before, but I'm just going to read Shutter Island for those of you that haven't watched it. Definitely should, and we will spoil the big twist because it's a big part of rewatching it. Also, is like knowing the twist
Exactly, and
is
looking at
happening.
it so differently.
But Shutter Island, World War II soldier turned U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels investigates the disappearance of a patient from a hospital for the criminally insane. But his efforts are compromised by troubling visions and a mysterious doctor. Directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo. Among others, we have Buffalo Bill is also in this film as the head of, I think, the police of the security.
You're right.
Which was a fun little callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy's
Not on
got a very
purpose.
interesting vibe. I forget what the
Seriously.
actor's name is, but he's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so watching Shutter Island, I think about the twist a lot. But I guess before we get there, maybe we do talk about the angle toward, like, the lens that we've been kind of looking at these things through.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, as we know, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, his name's Teddy, right?
Yes.
We call him Teddy. He is a World War II veteran. He was there at the liberation of the Dachau concentration camp, I believe.
Yes.
We get some flashbacks to that environment, and then we also get flashbacks to another separate trauma in his life, Michelle Williams, his ex-wife. And so this character is obviously a representation of trauma, complex trauma, which is essentially trauma in different events, not just a singular event of trauma. So this would be something called complex PTSD or CPTSD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, loaded one.
And it's complex.
Absolutely, man. And obviously with him, we have an element of not necessarily psychosis, but certainly delusion. And the delusion is almost, and this is where, I mean, like, this is just, don't get me started on the ethical violations in this movie of the psychologist.
Of what they do to try to get.
Jesus.
Oh, it's insane.
I mean, they literally force him into a delusion, and then obviously in the end he ends up getting a lobotomy, right?
Yes,
that's what's assumed.
Willingly.
Yeah. Right,
Like
he doesn't want to do it anymore.
He doesn't want to, because also a big part of this film is that he has basically done everything he can to black out this awful thing. They put it back in front of him again, and he decides he can't live with it, which is very the trauma
Powerful.
is too much.
Yeah, and Mark Ruffalo is like basically his psychiatrist that's like pretending to be his buddy, and it's like wild. And that's what I do really enjoy rewatching it, because you see everything, and there's obviously a lot of YouTube videos with the Easter eggs in that movie.
Of
you know,
course.
the water in the glass disappearing from Leonardo DiCaprio's angle because he has like the phobia of water.
Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more than I even realized.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there absolutely is. But there's
phobia
certainly
of water. Interesting. I never really thought about his character having a phobia of water, but
yeah, and then when he's on the boat, he's like
he's getting seasick and everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's to juxtapose with the fire, or I can't really like. Oh no! Right. The water, because Michelle Williams drowns his children.
He's in there with his children.
Right. Okay, that's where that comes. But I mean, obviously PTSD is characterized by flashbacks, and there's also the addition of PTSD with features of dissociation, which I certainly think that Leonardo DiCaprio has in this movie. But it's complicated too, because how much is his mental illness and what he's going through versus what a very elaborate
nature
Shutter
versus
Island,
nurture a little
exactly,
bit.
yeah.
It's a little bit like they are fucking him up so
bad.
hard.
Yeah, like poor guy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, so watching it on the second go through and realizing like he is the patient. Everything is changed, and I remember the first time watching it and absolutely being blown away by the twist.
Yeah.
And I was a little younger, anyways. But it totally blew my mind. And then watching it again, it feels like all the performances are just leveled, and there's so much depth in everything that you watch. And then you start to realize, like, because I also tried to put myself kind of in the mindset of like, all right, what was it like to watch it originally? What was the intention? How did Marty direct the actors to get them to do like almost like a dual performance? And is it believable on the first go around, or is it really giving away? Because it pretty quickly is revealing that Mark Ruffalo is not a police officer, because he doesn't know how to work his gut to hand his holster off. And you could tell Leo's character is like, kind of side-eyeing him, but then just drops it completely.
Yeah.
So it is kind of revealing right off the bat that there's something going on, but whether or not it was that is I guess up for debate.
Yeah, and there's something so satisfying about having. I mean, there's just not enough movies that have plot twists like that. You know, obviously we have M. Night.
Exactly. M. Night's kind of the one that it's his thing.
Yeah.
But
that was another. I almost recommended that we watch Split for this. And
I
ended
I
up
saw you
watching
were
that
watching
for the first
Split.
time the other night.
I've never seen it. It looks like a cotton candy movie, or it's
interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. James McAvoy gave an incredible performance with what he was given.
Yeah, I don't think he half-asses.
No, never. That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He just gives it his all, and that's like really the most redeeming quality of these movies. But I digress.
I have to imagine M. Night is not doing his research on what like.
Oh, it was killing me because in the second movie, the sequel is called Glass.
Yeah.
And
that brings together the whole cinematic universe.
Yeah, Unbreakable,
Split.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been Bruce Willis's like one of his last movies that he was in.
Yeah.
But Sarah Paulson is psychiatrist in that movie, and she keeps mentioning the frontal lobe and how the frontal lobe, and I'm like, what is this fascination with the frontal lobe? But it must have been an M. Night, like that's just the one part of the brain he understood.
I'm surprised he didn't go like medulla oblongata, because that's a fun one to say.
It is fun to say.
Yeah.
But he knows the frontal lobe's important, so he ran with that one.
Yeah. He A/B tested with audiences, and they understood frontal
They got
lobe.
the frontal.
Yeah, they're like, ooh.
What's the parietal?
Yeah,
What? I don't know that one.
no.
It's too big of a word.
Yeah. So big twists, took a big swing.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's got all the great makings of a good film. We also have another connection to a movie we didn't get to watch. It was Zodiac. We also have that actor who plays the police officer here, who plays
right.
what is that character's name?
Arthur Lee Allen.
Arthur Lee Allen, who maybe Zodiac.
Who knows, man?
We don't know.
There was like an article that came out not that long ago with the supposed.
I know.
That's been happening kind of recently with different things.
Exactly. It's hard to know exactly, because I think that like they're considering it settled now after that.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, I don't know if you know much about IgG.
No, I guess not.
Okay, I don't even know what it stands for, but it's genetic genealogy. I don't know what the I is. It's how they solved the Golden State. Yeah, probably international. That's how they solved the Golden State Killer case.
And that was. They got it right.
Yeah, and that was pretty recent. That was, I mean, he was probably going to die with that secret, but he's in jail now. And essentially, it's not necessarily only from places like 23andMe, but they can get your like 15th cousin, find their DNA, and see that's resembles the DNA at the scene in some way, and then figure out who the killer is from there.
Wow.
So Jack the Ripper was, no joke, solved recently.
Wow.
Because of that, from a shawl, from a victim.
Oh, yeah,
from
yeah.
that. So I think that essentially if there's DNA in a case, there's the potential for it to be solved.
Wow,
so it's a big deal.
That's really, really crazy.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because sometimes I hear people say like, why are there no more serial killers? And now we have more. We have different threats and more so mass murderers that do it all at once, because obviously technology is much better.
Yeah.
Science is much better. Genealogy. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
So serial killing isn't really feasible anymore. And that's why the 70s was just kind of the perfect storm for it.
Oh God.
Don't want to.
Oh, that's awful.
We're lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
With a mother from Northern California, growing up in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, really cool place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fun around every corner.
Yes, exactly. That's very interesting, and the Zodiac connection, and it's
a good movie. It's a great movie.
I like anything else about Shutter Island that you can.
No, but it's just extraordinarily unethical. They should be reported to the board.
Yes, and I think, I don't know, is Silent of the Lambs based on a book?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 3 of these movies based on books.
Oh, very cool.
Shutter Island was like an airline, or not an airline, but one you'd find at airports, like that kind of read, right?
And then obviously Gone Girl.
And let's transition over to Gone Girl.
God, I could talk about that movie forever.
Yes, I just finished rewatching it for like maybe the 4th time, before this episode.
Nice. Fresh.
Very fresh. I love it. Obviously, David Fincher was made for this.
He was. God, yeah.
Yeah, and the soundtrack is great too,
So
and it's really simple in this one.
It is.
Like I don't find myself going back to listen to this soundtrack versus Social Network or Challengers that I love going back to. So it's very subtle.
It is.
But
it does its job.
It matches the mood and the energy perfectly.
Yeah, such a good movie. I honestly rewatched this. It's oddly a comfort movie of mine. Like, I just really enjoy watching it.
Man, it just moves.
It does.
Yeah.
It goes by really quickly. There's never a moment that you're like, I wish that the scene was a little shorter.
It's true.
You know, it's perfectly cut. And Ben Affleck, man, he was made for this role.
Yeah.
He was made for this role.
Because he looks so fake. Like, he's so great at doing that.
So I don't know if you know, this is based, or at least inspired by Scott and Lacey Peterson.
Oh, okay.
And he looks a lot like Scott Peterson, so it makes sense. I mean, obviously it's not totally inspired, but Gillian Flynn used those real people to sort of, put a twist on the story, because obviously it's very different with Rosamund Pike's character, Amy. she's, first of all, I know that role was like the most sought after female role in the industry at the time, and they got it so perfect. She is absolutely incredible in that movie. And she's so
you have to be able
nuanced.
to wear so many different masks.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
To be believable in a character in a role like that.
Yeah.
She's certainly like, this movie to me is like another exemplification of personality disorder. She's very good at she's very talented at getting what she wants from people, molding people into who she needs them to be. But also important to remember with personality disorders is ordinarily there's some pretty serious there's ordinarily trauma in that person's history.
Yeah.
And we know that Amy, obviously her mom wrote the Amazing Amy books about her. She's in sort of the shadow of her fictional character her whole childhood. Anything she fails at, Amy's
she
gets
good
her
at
doll.
cello.
Exactly.
Amy gets the dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's kind of, it plants the seed for a need to be perceived as perfect for her.
Yeah.
Which is why Ben Affleck, when he's, not working at his job and when he's being lazy and when he, it really bothers her, obviously. It's fascinating to me to watch this and to find how much I root for Amy in certain parts of this damn movie. Obviously, she's got a lot of problems and she does a lot of terrible things. But Ben Affleck also is very good at playing I really can't stand him.
Yeah.
And it makes it like...
He's complicated,
right.
and he's not absolved.
No, and who are you supposed to root for, honestly? Yeah. That's what this movie is so great at.
Yeah. And even as we get to the end, like, he blows up on her and like throws her against a wall after we've kind of like, he's completely absolved of everything, and he's kind of the hero now, and like he can get back at her and all of those things, but he is still a dark person.
Exactly, and he knows he's trapped. Yeah, and I mean, who can blame him? He is like in the biggest nightmare of a relationship.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But another character I love in this movie too is his sister, played by Carrie King.
Yeah.
I think she is
Margot.
Really, she's like a very easy character for the audience to relate to.
Yes.
In a movie where everyone's kind of like unrelatable in some ways,
Yeah.
And then of course Neil Patrick Harris, like, I forget he's in that movie until I see his little face.
He's so interesting, the movies that he does when it gets serious. Like, I'm assuming you've never seen Matrix Revolutions.
I have not.
Yeah. No, not Revolutions. Whatever the newest one was.
Okay.
Anyway, Resurrection.
No.
Or Resurrections. He's in that too. It's so interesting. I don't know if I'm like on the Neil Patrick Harris train. I think I'm just so used to him playing comedies.
Exactly.
That it's so hard for me to get
see
through
a
it.
different version.
But I mean, he
serves his purpose in this movie.
He does do a great job.
Absolutely,
and also is able to play kind of that sinister, slimy character. Because he's slimy too, but she's slimier.
She's slimier, and that's what. Yeah, she's great at pulling the bad things out of people, but then also kind of eventually, obviously, she molds Ben Affleck into like her perfect man. Now she's pregnant with his baby and they have this beautiful house and he's finally loyal to her. She got rid of the affair and everyone pities her. She wins at the end of that movie.
And how does Amazing Amy top that?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's finally perfect. So I find that this movie is really the best, like, especially women that I talk to just love this movie and love the way that it portrays, female rage, being scorned, a woman scorned.
Yeah.
But she's certainly not healthy.
Yeah,
That's important to remember. But she's fascinating.
Yeah, I think also this movie has Emerald Fennel vibes, obviously.
Does,
and I haven't seen Promising Young Woman, but even just Saltburn.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about music video directors.
Rosamund Pike again is
I know, yes. And maybe that's where the part of, she also plays like a uppity character in that too. But these kind of music video directors that are very visually, digitally focused.
Yeah.
You can they very similar vibes.
So every frame a painting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and obviously there's just something so beautiful. And I think something that's interesting about this, and I think all of these movies, actually, maybe except Silence of the Lambs, except for the one part, editing is such a huge, like it hits you in the face a little bit. With Gone Girl, it's these fades to black that
Right.
happen at different points.
Yeah.
Very unconventional. You really don't see that. And it has this weird deflating effect when it happens. Like
Such a good point.
It's hard to explain, but it's such a unique use of the form.
It is, yeah. I kind of, because correct me if I'm wrong, but it's usually paired with like the end of an entry in her journal, right?
Yes.
Most of the time, at least I can
Yes.
remember. It's kind of like, a visual interpretation of,
Yeah.
finishing a page of your journal.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like going to sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it just like sucks everything out, and then you're kind of brought
Right.
back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then thinking about Shutter Island, there's a lot of just hitting you in the face. I mean, that's just the Martin Scorsese promise.
Right.
And I forget who his editor is. She is unbelievable and amazing.
Yeah.
And their editing style has always been so strange
Yeah.
and extremely unconventional.
Exactly.
And I want to say her name because I want to
Give her credit.
I want to give her the cred. Where are you? Thelma Schoonmaker or Schoonmaker. Yeah,
We love you,
she is
Thelma.
amazing. She's worked on I think every single one of Martin's
I mean, what an awesome
film.
job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like they're not afraid to jump cut and change things. I remember the first jump cuts I ever saw. Now this is a crazy thing to say, but like I remember when jump cuts weren't like a thing.
Yeah.
Like YouTube made them like really a thing. Like everyone's so used to jump cuts now, it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I remember watching Martin Scorsese movies, and I think The Departed was the one that really hit me over the head. I was like, what?
It kind of, jolts you. Yeah.
Yeah, it just like really was weird. And I think now as a collective society, I don't think that
We're so used to it.
hits it anymore.
Yeah.
But at least in Shutter Island, it wasn't afraid to just get to the point.
Right.
Like we don't have to have all this song and dance. It's just like using editing to hit you in the face with something is, I think, a really powerful tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cure would do that as well. There's plenty of shots where it just like throws in a frame.
I loved that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that really added to the ambiance of manic.
Exactly. It's just like you're losing your mind,
Yeah, exactly,
right?
right.
For lack of a better term. Is losing your mind like a term people don't like to say anymore? I think that's something else that's really interesting about just this field is it feels like they're also
things are changing.
Yeah, because there's so much stigma.
Yeah,
It's like being pulled out of the mud.
Exactly. It's really important to remember that psychology and especially, neuroscience is very new.
Yeah.
And up until neuroscience, psychology was just an art form.
Yeah.
It's only now become a science. And even, it wasn't even taken seriously. We are changing a lot of things and moving in the right direction, even rather than saying someone is an addict or is addicted to something. We say this person has a substance use disorder. Person-centered language is much more important now, rather than just saying someone, is crazy. Even mentally ill is a complicated. Everyone has their own opinions. I personally believe it's down to what the individual wants to be referred to as. There's a lot of even like, a person with autism, an autistic person. There's so much different options when it comes down to how someone wants to be referred to. But we are moving in the right direction, and there's like you said, the stigma is pretty gnarly, and especially on certain disorders.
Yeah.
But it's becoming better, especially with more treatments being created, and there's now even a form of schizophrenia medication that's an injection that lasts, I want to say 3 months.
Wow.
And so, because schizophrenia is ordinarily a condition that makes it pretty difficult for individuals to take their medicine regularly. Yeah. So getting a 3-month long extended, right? That's incredible. So there's going to be a lot of advances.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. To jump off that point, I learned or read about the new, like, I wouldn't say maybe it's treatment. I guess I don't know how to use the word treatment in this sense, but there are dogs for schizophrenic people that have schizophrenia that they can say like, is someone over in that corner?
That's incredible.
And the dog will just like,
tell them,
no, or not react, and will always react to when there's a person in the room or a figure or something like that.
Yeah, that's so.
And that's just such a. I think about schizophrenia a lot.
Yeah,
because it is like it's to be totally.
It's a very scary thought.
Exactly, to not be able to trust your own eyes is kind of
it's a nightmare.
Interesting. Yeah, it is
exactly.
a nightmare.
And then these people that do deal with that are ordinarily seen as, menaces or
Yeah.
you know, yeah, don't even get me started on just the unhoused population and the complications with mental illness there and how they just feed into each other and make such a complicated but regardless
I mean, people want to see like homeless people just like killed.
right, it's so awful. It's like, no, these people can
crazy.
certainly be helped,
Yeah.
but it's easier for people, I think, to, you know, out of sight, out of mind with this kind of
Yes.
stuff. And that's why mental asylums and things like that were such a big deal. And now we don't really have asylums. We have jails. And
Yeah.
that's ordinarily the place that someone that doesn't have a house can get medicine for a mental illness, can get food, can have a bed to sleep in.
Crazy.
And so there have been instances where judges have admitted to giving people longer sentences so that they can have somewhere, they can have access to medication. And that's just our justice system is an absolute disaster.
The carnal state.
Exactly.
Carceral state. Sorry.
Right.
Carnal state. Carnal. Okay. I mean, maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
It
But
felt
carceral.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Awful. Yeah. I guess the only one that dealt with prison was Signs of the Lambs. But that's an interesting.
And we have kind of Shutter Island is right. That's more
It's
of an
on the
asylum.
edge.
Yeah. But I also was thinking of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for this episode, but there was less crime, more just mental illness.
That'll definitely be a good place to go to, I
love
think.
that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So Gone Girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Love
David,
that movie.
yeah. David Fincher, please
Keep bringing them out.
Yeah, keep bringing them out. Come back in a way. Like I want to see kind of more of this.
Right.
But Gone Girl itself, I remember reading the book before the movie.
Right.
I mean, it's just a great.
Yeah, Gillian Flynn is incredible.
Yeah.
She's
And I wanted to bring this up because I think as we're kind of going into these, I was looking up like what makes a psychological thriller. And I know we're kind of like looking at it through a different lens, but I think all of these things are really important aspects from like a film storytelling perspective. We have 4 things according to Wikipedia at least. Okay. Plot twists, which you can see. Basically, I think all of them have a plot twist.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then unreliable narrator. Obviously, Gone Girl very much has that. That's
Shutter
the whole
Island
point of that.
also.
Yes. Silence of the Lambs. I mean, you could say Hannibal is kind of like unreliable.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely getting he's giving all of us all of the information to Clarice about, you know, and it's completely, most of it's
I
false.
wonder. And then we have...
Cure for sure is unreliable narrator as well.
MacGuffin. A MacGuffin. And then a red herring.
Okay.
And I had to look up the difference between a MacGuffin and a red herring.
Yeah, can you tell me?
Yes. Because I was like, I was having a hard time like getting it. But basically, here I'll read what is on AskBib.com, written by T. Walsh, June 8th, 2024. I think this will. This is what I read to kind of better understand it. A red herring is a narrative device intended to mislead or distract the audience from the main plot or the true issue at hand.
Oh, okay.
So there's probably, I imagine Shutter Island is that, because it's the entire time trying to lead you
in a totally different
way.
direction.
Yeah, so that's more of like a red
Gone
herring.
Girl, I mean, yeah, you definitely have the question in your mind if Ben Affleck
Lots
is,
of red herrings in Gone Girl. It often introduces false clues or subplots that create confusion or divert attention away from the primary storyline.
Okay.
In contrast, a MacGuffin is an object, event, or character that serves as a driving force for the character's motivation and actions, but lacks intrinsic importance to the plot itself. While a red herring obscures the truth, a MacGuffin propels the narrative forward, facilitating character development and conflict. Both techniques create tension, but serve distinct purposes in storytelling. Now, I was still, even after I heard that, a little confused by like a MacGuffin being like, oh, it's not intrinsically important. What does that mean? Have you ever seen The Maltese Falcon?
No.
Well, the Maltese Falcon is like the ultimate MacGuffin.
Okay.
When people, if you go on the MacGuffin Wikipedia page, that's the thing that pops up. That's what everyone kind of knows as the ultimate MacGuffin. Because the movie starts off, it's about getting the Maltese Falcon. By the end of the movie, getting the Maltese Falcon doesn't solve the problems anymore. But it is the driving force. And so
movie.
that's what it kind of means by like intrinsically important. The movie isn't solved or the conflict isn't solved by finding the item anymore. But it is the thing that it's like the rocket fuel that keeps the thing moving.
What do you think that would be in Gone Girl? I'm kind of thinking maybe the people at her. Where is she? Is she in Georgia when she like leaves?
She's in the Ozarks.
The Ozarks, thank you.
Yeah.
When she meets those two people that are trying to steal her money.
Yeah.
And
doing some research online, people say there is no MacGuffin in Gone Girl.
Oh.
Lots of red herrings, but no MacGuffin.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I'd have a hard time thinking about like what. There's certainly plenty of items that kind of or things that the characters are going for, but they feel like it's either MacGuffin or red herring.
Okay.
And I think these are red herrings because they're meant to completely obscure
they
the
don't
truth.
play. They're not a part of the intrinsic purpose. I see.
Oh yeah. Oh, just to jump back into Gone Girl real quick.
Yeah.
Just like how the reveal of the twist halfway through the film, which is great.
So good. The switch of perspectives.
It's fantastic, and all of a sudden you kind of get it. So many movies. Like, have you seen Weapons?
Yeah. Actually, no. I was almost gonna watch it last night after Cure, but I went to bed.
Okay. Well, have you seen Barbarian?
Yes.
Okay, so he's definitely known for. It's a very similar, it's a very similar kind of movie where it's like all of a sudden you reach like a certain point where everything is revealed, in a certain fashion. Yeah. And so that's definitely what we're having just earlier in the movie where Zach Cregger's, I think is the director. Zach Cregger's movies basically wait till like the third act to really show it all off. This one did it right in the middle and maybe even a little bit earlier. And it was great for that. Like I loved like to be brought in that early so that we can see more of the movie.
Too. Exactly.
I almost wanted the movie to be even an hour longer.
I know. That's what I always feel with David Fincher movies. And I'm always really amazed that he can do that.
Yeah, so much is happening at the end.
Yeah,
that you're just like, oh God. Give me more. Yes, exactly. Like, what is it like living in this house? I mean, the fear that she's just around the corner.
Terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. It's so scary.
She's capable of anything.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that she just like, the kind of character she is, that she is able, like she falls into this hole and basically like her actions now suck in all of the dark elements and she literally has to kill to get out of this hole that she dug.
And she has no remorse for it.
None at all. And she thought she was going to get away scot-free and then little things happen here, little things happen there that kind of like force her into this position. And I really did not know. I completely even forgot the ending, like where it was going to go once she got back with Neil Patrick Harris.
Right.
Yeah. But it just made like, who else could she have possibly called? And then all of a sudden, like the kind of character she is, an amazing character, but one that is always planning.
Absolutely.
And always has an ulterior motive.
She's so, once again, the charismatic, like, she's almost a chameleon. She knows who she needs to be for people. She knows who people need to be for her.
Yeah. And she's not willing. I mean, the shower scene, I think, is great when she's finally back, covered in blood, washing it off with, and having, like, not willing to talk to Ben Affleck without, like thinking he might have a wire. He has to be naked in the shower. And it also brings in that kind of psychosexual element into this too.
Yeah.
That is a big part of it because and this is like, the Me Too era was happening at this time as well. We were kind of getting into the height of that. And it plays with that too. Like she's not afraid to use rape and sexual assault as tools to get what she wants. Yeah. Very quick to use those.
Absolutely.
Actually.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie too, Gone Girl itself was, I can't remember what the name of there was a case a little bit later that actually ended up being, she really was kidnapped, I believe, this woman, but because of Gone Girl being a thing, she was actually believed to be guilty before being innocent, essentially. So it did some damage in some areas too. But
that's awful.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
Yeah,
great story.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
It is. Yeah,
that it affects reality.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next film, our final film.
Right.
Cure. This was one that I had recommended myself. It's one that I'd seen before. I'd been really eager to talk about. I had seen it as a double feature at home.
Cool.
But I watched it with Perfect Blue. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I haven't seen it, but I have heard of it.
Yes. It also can play along these lines. Perfect Blue also being a Japanese film,
Right.
specifically a Japanese animated film, anime, that follows, it takes place in the 90s too, but follows a pop star that is being, stalked. And then also this is like the beginning of the internet, but also being impersonated online.
Oh.
And so she is like losing her own like sense of self
Wow,
as she's watching it. And there are parts of the movie that are horrifying. It is a horror movie.
Okay.
It is so scary. And so I watched that with this. And I think I ended up on the second go around. It didn't hit me as hard as the first time I watched it. But I think the combination of the two is a perfect shot chaser.
That's a good choice. We almost watched Weapons after this last night, and that was going to be a fun back-to-back double feature.
That would be a very fun back-to-back.
I was too sleepy.
Yeah. But yeah, so Cure. Let me pull it up. I didn't read the Gone Girl synopsis, but I think you guys all kind of get it by this point.
Yeah, we basically said the whole story.
Exactly. But Cure, a detective starts spiraling out of control when a wave of gruesome murders with seemingly similar bizarre circumstances is sweeping Tokyo. Thank you for allowing an international film in here as well. But yeah, no, as soon as like you had mentioned Silence of the Lambs, my mind kind of went here.
Sure.
And this film being of a lot of importance, I don't think we've mentioned this on the pod, but it was very influential in being, or did I already say
You
this?
just said it.
I said it earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
all
I
right.
did. Not only did I say it in the podcast, I said it in the same episode.
Yeah.
So
About 30 minutes prior.
yes, exactly. But so you had never seen Cure.
I'd never seen it.
What was the?
Yeah.
What did you kind of take from it?
The first thing I noticed was how much it reminded me of other stuff.
Yeah,
and then I had to, because I even got some near the beginning. I got some Shutter Island vibes, but as it went on, it became its own thing, and I really valued that. I liked how explicit it was about the psychology aspect.
Yeah.
Very heavy-handed. Mesmerism is obviously a real thing. Hypnotism is also a real thing. I'm not sure how I certainly think people are suggestible, but
there's no way that you can
to
do
that
this.
level, I would not say so. No,
way.
but that's what's cool about it is because you have that, like you were saying, supernatural
Yes.
aspect that most of these other movies don't really give you.
Yeah.
But what I liked about this one is that you've got back and forth between the main character.
Yeah.
And then we have the Maya, is that his name?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. It is yes, Mamiya.
Mamiya.
Yeah,
and then we have him back and forth, and he's asking a lot of questions as his character, and he's kind of just like, forcing the story to he's always got a purpose, and you're wondering what is his purpose, and these murders are going on and you're not sure how they combine. I also was curious I was just a little confused as to what the main detective's his wife was supposedly crazy, and obviously that's a derogatory term. It's supposedly mentally ill, and then I looked it up online and it said that she had schizophrenia, which I did not pick up there. Did you?
No.
Okay,
But I guess I don't know what schizophrenia causes. I mean, she had like memory wipes almost.
Yeah, I guess that could be a dissociation symptom.
But then there's also, and maybe like I realized watching it again that there was a lot that I had missed or maybe even misunderstood.
Sure.
Like when we first meet her, when she's reading the Bluebeard book, like there's some, or is it an earthquake? Like there's some like just like the table just shakes.
And that happens later too.
Yeah.
And we always get that shot of the light
in
the like tunnel, and I'm not
sure.
sure.
The light in the tunnel, like we could ask what it says. I think it's kind of like it's all kind of going into what hypnotism is.
Right.
Like, and he went to the light in the tunnel because that's where the pipe was taken.
The pipe.
Yeah, that someone was killed with. But yeah, light is being played with, but then it ends up becoming elements in general, like
fire,
water, and different things like that.
Yeah.
That kind of change how it is. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. And yeah, I don't really know what her thing was necessarily.
Yeah, she was an interesting side character going on, and you know, she's supposed to be making the main detective kind of, he expresses some resent against her, and he's kind of like...
His life to him sucks.
Yeah, really sucks. And then he goes home and it's not that terrible, other than the time that she gives him that raw steak, which I was like, damn.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. I thought that it was cool to have a villain that was, I mean, not necessarily that he was the villain, but that he was like just a very young, cocky, egotistical character.
Charismatic as well. Like we kind of get back into that, like what makes a serial killer, or what makes someone that has that. And I think, you know, you get, and maybe it's a more modern thing, but that's like a big part of it now is like when we think of killers, a lot of times we think of like attractive people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Ted Bundy was like the first person that really changed.
Yeah.
And then you hear about even Charles Manson, anyone in the Manson family, mostly the women in the Manson family will tell you he was the most charismatic, very flirtatious, so handsome and charming.
I'm so curious.
Right?
I'm like, what?
And this guy is kind of a Manson character. He's not really killing anybody himself. He's doing the manipulation that forces people to do, you know, bend to his will.
Yeah.
Which I think, once again, this is kind of an antisocial personality disorder type character. But Did you see that main detective as like the hero of our story, or I mean, what was the role that he was playing, you think, in this movie?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I mean, obviously by the end, he is now it.
Right,
he's now the hypnotist, or whatever you want to say.
Exactly.
By the end, I think he's flawed. He's like the exact opposite of our Clarice character.
Yeah.
He is
very vulnerable.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Al Pacino in Heat, which I don't know if you've seen, but this kind of like this character that cannot stop. Like the most important thing in their lives.
Kind of like Jake Gyllenhaal in Zodiac.
Yeah. It's just like, but yeah. I need to watch that again.
God,
does his life like fall apart because of that? Okay, then yes, it's that same sort of thing. It's like they have this drive to do it.
Yeah, it drives them crazy.
Yeah, exactly. They start to like kind of lose their mind. And then in this movie, losing your mind, quote unquote, is exactly what makes you susceptible.
Exactly.
Like he was the exact kind of person that would kind of fall into this hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what was really interesting too, is like the people that Mimiya chose to hypnotize.
Yeah.
And it was people that stuck around through his like relentless questioning and his
and were kind.
Exactly. And weren't annoyed by his supposed amnesia, and they kind of showed to him that they were moldable.
Yeah. There's a number of points in the movie where our lead, played by Koji Yakusho, who is also in Perfect Days and in Eureka, which is another film we watch on the podcast. Really great movies. Cool. Takabe is his character.
Takabe, you're right.
But Takabe, multiple times you think Takabe has already been hypnotized.
Right.
Like there's a few shots like when he is talking to the whole like swath of police officers. And he's like whispering the hypnotist Makabe. I want to make sure I get that right. Mamiya. Mamiya is like whispering in it, like, "Can you believe these people?" or something like that. And Takabe is just staring straight forward, looks hypnotized, but then suddenly breaks and like throws him against a wall.
Right.
And then that happens again in the jail cell when he the water is dripping, and then we think that he's hypnotized, but then we show a shot outside and he just like beat him up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's things like that where it's just like he's like too powerful almost that he can't he isn't, but it's addictive,
right?
This thing, and he ends up kind of going the long way.
Exactly. And becoming almost like he takes Mimiya's position rather than becoming someone that's just hypnotized.
Yeah.
That also reminded me of a lot of like more recent horror movies, like It Follows.
I was just going there. Exactly.
Yeah,
like this
passing of the torch.
Oh my God. That's what I was just about to say.
We're related.
That is so funny. Yes. It's exactly like It Follows in that way.
That was very satisfying ending.
It was, yes. And I'm a fan of the kind of like blink and you miss it kind of endings where it's just like, oh,
what happened there? Right.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it was so good. And he is finally happy
Exactly.
as well. Like we finally, like we just got a shot of his wife.
Right.
And here's the thing that this movie has, that the other ones don't as much. Obviously, Silence of the Lambs gets a little violent there.
Sure.
And now that Gone Girl does too, but this one, like the scenes of violence are so flat.
Yeah.
And terrifying.
Yeah.
And so raw.
Exactly. It's just like you're a police officer walking into a crime scene. There's
Exactly. It's cold. It's brutal.
The shots are very long.
Yeah. It's very artistic. The director has another film that came out last year, I think Cloud, that I'm really interested to watch. But another like thriller movie.
I don't know if you know either, but the friend of Takube.
Like the professor?
Yes, he's
Takabe?
a forensic psychologist.
Oh, actually?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what it said on the Wikipedia.
Oh, no, so like that's what his character is.
That's
okay. I
his
thought
role,
you were
his
talking
role,
about the actor.
not the actual guy. That'd be cool though.
Yeah.
We should get more forensic
Okay.
psychologist actors.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I kind of thought he was like a professor friend or something like that. But he obviously worked at a university or something and was like brought in.
Yeah,
or
it
something
looked
like
he was like working at the hospital
Yeah.
half the time, and that's how he got like the Takube's wife
Yeah.
in to get treated. And then he's also like working on the crime, so that's kind of he's got like the psychology and the crime aspect.
Yeah, there's so many great scenes, like the X's obviously are like the
Right.
scenes, the things that we see a lot, and like especially when it's kind of revealed that he has been infected with
Yeah.
it, and he has the X on the wall. It is,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's just so crazy, and it's also is one of those things that you kind of notice a couple times where they realize like, oh no, I lost my mind. Like I'm not in control of myself anymore. And it's such a terrifying, like the floor falls out from under you
Right.
feeling.
I think something important too is like we talk a lot in at least in my grad school program about cultural competency as clinicians and taking into account someone's culture. And in places like Japan, where I mean, we think mental illness is stigmatized here.
Oh yeah.
Most other countries are even more stigmatized towards mental illness. But I think that's important to think about too. The way that the everybody that commits these crimes is automatically crazy, and there's just it's so unbelievable. He's that's once again like it's almost a supernatural aspect, but is it just mental illness?
Yeah, and I think this one is more supernatural than
Right.
mental illness. They certainly don't give our Mamiya any wiggle room to be a redeemable figure.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
feel like it's like
Yeah.
besides the fact that like he's kind of killed and he's not really like he's defenseless.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only thing. But for the most part, he's kind of just a bad guy. Maybe not even fully in like control,
Right.
like evil necessarily.
His mission is to just like
It's just-
spread the
Yeah.
gospel. Basically.
Yeah, he's almost just like addicted to doing it.
Yeah.
And just has this skill. Yeah, but it's very interesting. Yeah, it does bring in a lot of like the actual psychology stuff in. He's like studying all of
he
this.
was a student or
yeah,
something.
yeah, which is neat, and with all the animals and things, and
Yeah.
some really absolutely terrifying imagery,
Mm-hmm.
and also just like there's a Lovecraftian element too,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd be curious like how that has, because Lovecraft stuff came out like before so much of this realization, but there's like this Lovecraftian aspect of like you see something and then it makes you lose your mind. Like it's like we can't comprehend, because in like Lovecraft stuff there's like Cthulhu.
Right,
Maybe
right.
you've heard of that. Just like these giant old gods that if you saw them you would lose your mind.
Yeah.
Like
He's basically talking about trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The inability to comprehend. I mean, I was even talking about this recently to people, but the things that we're exposed to on the internet now, even in movies, seeing very realistic looking dead bodies is enough to give you trauma.
Yeah.
We were never meant to experience that on a day-to-day basis. We weren't meant to open TikTok and see someone get hit by a train and things like that. Yeah. So exposure, certainly, I mean, traumatic induced disorders are very serious. And I feel like there's H.P. Lovecraft, just looking at when he was alive, 1890 to 1937. This is like Freud time.
Yeah.
Obviously he was so influential, and you either love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
But a lot of these movies deal with, you know, id, ego, super ego. A lot of these very, I mean, even if you hate him, you got to admit he said some real shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he said some real shit.
Right?
Yeah. But it's just like, yes, like, and I'm certainly not giving him a pass, but there's just so much about that era. Like, all of that was coming up, like eugenics as well. Like, I mean, so many things were coming up at that time that are just like absolutely awful.
Yeah, and
awful.
you know, Sigmund Freud, I believe he was in Austria at the beginning of World War II. He died right before it from throat or tongue cancer from how many cigars he smoked per day.
Yeah.
And he also, you know, he gave cocaine to his clients and things like that. They were doing that back then.
Yeah.
But he himself was, you know, a Jew in Europe in that time, and he was going through a lot of his own stuff. And his daughter, it's actually really fascinating. You should look into his daughter, but she ended up kind of becoming the founder of child psychoanalysis, whereas the father's the founder of adult psychoanalysis.
Oh, that tracks.
Right, and she was like one of I believe she was an out lesbian at the time, but at least we know she was lesbian now, and she had a life partner, and Freud supposedly had a very hard time dealing with that because he himself said that's
you wanted your father.
Exactly. Yeah. So he was going through his own shit too. You know, they all are, and some of these theories come from their own problems. You know?
Yeah. It's like how, you know, they sometimes say like writers, and I remember when I was like in college getting a writing degree, you know, you'd read something and be like, oh, they just revealed something about themselves and what they read. Maybe you don't even realize it. And directors, I think just in film in general, you can get that a lot.
Absolutely.
It's like, what do you gravitate towards to as an artist?
Yeah.
I think it's like that in every field.
It's
is,
like,
yeah, okay,
certainly.
I'm bringing my own self into this, and that's what fuels me. That's what feeds me.
Exactly. That's a very important aspect. I mean, in order for me to become a doctor, I have to get a few thousand hours of therapy and assessments in, and I'm currently doing my therapy, and it's really important to have your own voice, as like that's very valuable to clients to hear like someone who isn't just like a perfect, you know, clinician, someone who has like, you know, their own characteristics and traits, and what I value comes through in my sessions. What kind of treatments and interventions I prefer are the ones I tend to use. So everyone has their own little signature. It's pretty cool.
Nice. This has all been really, really great. I want to finish us off.
Let's do it.
With a fun question.
Okay.
And maybe just a fun look into, do you remember for yourself, what's your earliest movie memory?
This is so funny, and maybe this is projection and me going back, but I remember you and Jake watching Amadeus, specifically the scene, his Mozart's funeral procession, and I asked this was in like the great room, the living room, and I asked, you know, what are you guys watching? And you said it was about Mozart, and I'm like, that sounds so fucking boring. Yeah. That's a memory I have really early on, and also just Rocky Horror.
How old were you? Do you think you were at that time?
Gosh, you guys probably had to be 15, so maybe 5.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rocky Horror was a movie, like a very early movie that I saw that I just really loved because it was so exciting to watch. I didn't understand anything, but there was a lot going on.
Yeah. Amadeus, I mean, talk about just unbelievable.
I mean, if you asked me to choose one movie, I could literally have talked about that.
Exactly. And it is so good. And I hope to God we get there.
Right.
Yes. And then one other question I have is, do you remember the first time you watched a movie and realized like, oh, movies are so much more than just like, you know, a runtime and actors? Yeah,
that's a great point. Honestly, I think that Perks of Being a Wallflower was a really big movie. The time that I watched it also had a very big impact. You know, I was like a young teen, and I was like, holy cow. That was the first time I remember being really moved by something.
Yeah.
But then also Amadeus was the first movie that when I watched it like 4 more times that week. I was like, I cannot get enough. And that movie's 3 hours long. Yeah. And I did not give a fuck. Like, it was just incredible.
It's so unbelievably good.
So that one stuck with me. And then there was honestly the one more that's kind of random, but Jojo Rabbit, when I saw that in theaters, I don't know what, I mean, that one just really, I walked out and I was like, wow. The world, like, you know, sometimes you see a movie and you walk out and your perspective's changed.
100%. So, I feel that, like, Boyhood was that for me. Like, I walked outside, I'm like, there are just movies you watch and you feel like your eyes are the movie.
Exactly.
Like
so
everything
beautiful.
you see, you're seeing it in shots and
much has to do with, what you're going through at the time in general as well. Like sometimes things just hit when they need to.
Yeah.
And I watched Jojo Rabbit again not too long ago, and I'm like, I got through like 30 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to not.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I enjoyed it a lot the
it.
first time.
Yeah.
And then one more is my last thing I'll say. 1917, when I saw that in theaters.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
Honestly, I think I was doing the 48-hour film festival.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was the 24-hour. I had not slept for like 36 hours. And we went to 1917, and obviously all one shot. It looks like one shot at least.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm never going to watch it again. I made that promise to myself. Because I don't think it's probably not even that incredible. But on no sleep, I was in the trenches. I was in World War I, and it was stressful. I was on the edge of my seat, and I got great sleep after.
Oh my gosh.
That was like my best, most intense movie watching experience.
Wow. That is awesome. So for those of you listening, watching, stay up for 24 hours, watch 1917. You'll have an out-of-body experience.
Exactly. In IMAX. I think it was an IMAX.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
and we had BJ's to eat right before it, so it was like, just
nice.
having a nice deep dish pizza, crisp Coke, and no sleep in 1917.
There you go, folks. Well, Julia, I want to thank you for being here. It was a real pleasure.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you, folks, for listening, and that's a wrap. See you next time.
Peace.
Bye. Wind Reel and Print is a podcast by Salad Brain Productions.
You can find us on Instagram at Wind Reel and Print Pod.
You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts.
And please, if you like the show, leave a rating and review.
We'll see you next time.